Sunday school leaders, we are certainly living in exciting times, aren't we? Hey, in one more week we will have elected a new president, and I'm sure nobody will be happy, but hey, that's okay. All right, hey, there was another time that was very exciting as well, and that was in Acts chapter 3, the story that's there. It's a very familiar story, but just to remind you that we're in that unit entitled Unstoppable Gospel. This week we're in session 4, and the title of the lesson is Unstoppable Opportunities. We're looking at Acts chapter 3, verses 1 through 10, and the point of the lesson is that we intersect daily with people who need Christ. So here it is. It's Acts chapter 3. We've been through Acts chapter 2, the day of Pentecost, and all that. And now Peter and John are walking to the temple. This is a very familiar story for those who have been in church for some time. They're walking toward the temple, and they're going through what's called the Beautiful Gate there at the temple. And there's a beggar sitting there by the gate. And this is a guy who has never walked in his entire life. He's had to have people carry him everywhere. Lame since birth. Always had to depend on other people to carry him from point A to point B. Never as a child was able to run and play in the streets and all that. Never had those opportunities. So he's sitting there and he's begging for alms, begging for money, as he did every day. Now here's a question, here's a trivia question. How old was this guy? Okay, it's not in our text, but I'll get to that here in a few minutes. So he's begging for money, begging for alms, and Peter and John, they happened to walk by, and they looked at him and basically said, I don't have any money, but what I do have I'll give to you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. They took him by the hand. He leaped up, jumped up, and walked. Now, a few things I'd like to point out for consideration for this week is number one, the detail that's in this story. It said that they walked through what was called the Beautiful Gate, meant that there was a specific name of the gate to the temple that they walked through. In verse 4 it says that they just not looked at the man, but looked at him intently. It was like, give me your attention. And they looked at him intently, and the man returned the gaze. Also said they took him, this didn't say take him by the hand. There in verse 7 it said took him by the right hand. Just a reminder that the author of this book is who? It's Luke. Luke the physician. Very detailed, detail-oriented guy. Now, to me, the most outstanding thing about this miracle was not that the man was healed. Of course, that was a miracle. It said his ankles and muscles became strong and he was able to stand up. It's not that he was healed, even though that was a great miracle. But to me, the greatest miracle of the whole thing was that he was able to immediately walk, having never walked before. Sometimes when somebody goes through a car accident or has some kind of debilitating illness and they're laid up for months, sometimes they have to go through physical therapy and learn how to walk again. Here's a man who never has walked in his life, and he was able to not just stand up, but jumped up. He leaped up and was able to walk immediately. To me, that's the biggest miracle of all. Now, a few takeaways I think we can get out of this week's lesson. And one thing is that there is need all around us. There's physical need, there's spiritual needs, or emotional needs, financial needs, all these needs that are around us. We just have to be aware of those things, have to be attentive to those things. Another thing is that we can often become blind to those obvious needs that are around us. That guy was sitting at that temple gate every day. How many people walked by day after day after day? And maybe they saw him the first few times, but after a while he just kind of blended into the landscape. So we have to be careful that we don't become blind to those needs that are around us all the time. Also, another thing is that perhaps some of those speed bumps that come into our life, God placed them there to slow us down. Peter and John, they were on their way to the temple. Good thing to do. They were going there to pray. They had a goal, had a mission, but there was a speed bump there. There was a guy who was asking for help. How many times does God put those speed bumps in our life to slow us down, to focus more on Him? And oftentimes we just run right over those speed bumps and don't even pay attention to them. I know when I was at my first ministry assignment in Liberal, Kansas, my church office was positioned such that I could look out my office window and then also look out into the church parking lot as well. And I was looking there one day, staring out the window as I normally did. No, I was looking out the window, and I could see this family walk by, and I could tell by looking at them. This sounds judgmental, but you could just tell by looking at them, they were coming in to get some assistance, to get some benevolence needs met. And I was thinking, I am so busy. I really don't have time for this. And it kind of dawned on me real quickly, well, what business am I in anyway? I'm here to help people. I'm not a bank to give out money, but I am here to help meet physical and spiritual needs. And so it was just a wake-up call to me that reminded me that sometimes these people come into our lives, that God places them there to slow us down, to get us focused back on Him. And what we should not do is take Peter's statement that he used, when he said, silver and gold I don't have, but here's what I give to you. We should not take that as an excuse not to help people with money, right? Peter and John, they were being very honest. I don't have any money, but here, I'll give you what I have, and that's the spiritual help. If we remember what James chapter 2, verses 15 and 16 says, it says that if got somebody that needs clothing, needs food, and you say to them, okay, be warm and well fed, more or less, God bless you, be on your way. What good is that? What good is just blessing them and sending them away without actually helping them? So we are still called to minister to people with needs. Now, I'm going to get back to that original question I asked you about the trivia question about how old the guy is. If you look down in chapter 4, verse 22, we can see that the man was over 40 years old. From John chapter 3, Acts, the 3rd chapter, all of it, and into chapter 4, it's the whole story of this man being healed and then being questioned by the religious leaders. That's all I have for this week. Remember to pray for your class, and I hope you have a great Sunday.
Peter and John went to pray. They met a lame man on the way. He asked for alms and held out his palms, and this is what Peter did say. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk.
He went walking and leaping and praising God, walking and leaping and praising God in the name of Jesus Christ.